Good evening everyone, welcome to FGM eCast. For your Tuesday night, we're back. It is Tuesday night and we are here at the Hungaroring for AUSPASS 2 ahead of the main feature run with the Pro-Am. Coming up after this, we're halfway through qualifying. We're a little bit late this evening, apologies for that. A couple of updates required that caught us out on the way in, but we're here now anyhow. 3.5 minutes to go in qualifying. It is Sebastian Vandel who's currently sitting in provisional pole with Hendrik Kazinga and Brett Barker inside the top three as well. So
5.
There is plenty to see here on FGM eCast. Of course, we're just waiting to see who's going to take out pole position here. We'll do a little bit of a run through of the championship standings as well, coming up shortly. If you are joining us on the stream, wherever you're joining from, welcome aboard for your Tuesday night. So there will be plenty to see. Being a small issue with sound here, we're just going to very quickly fix that up as well. It looks like it is early for the bugs to bear this evening. Let's get that fixed. And there we go, we've got some sound now, so you'll actually be able to hear the cars, which is always lovely. That's what you want to be hearing as you're getting around here. And in the background there, so might have been Brett Barker. I think it was Blake Urquhart who just went off in the background, so teammates there have just pulled over to regain. So we're together to try and improve their form in qualifying. I do have a big apology to make as well. Last week we were having a look at this livery here, which is John Baldwin on screen. A big chat about the fact that it might have been Index Designs that put them together, and of course it wasn't. It was Andrew Hayes, AHR Designs, who's put that together there. So apologies to Andrew for that one. We have a lot of credit to Index for the design, but of course Andrew's put that one together as well. So a cracking livery there. So apologies, Andrew, who's running in the feature race tonight. Still one of our favourite liveries. So, anyway, we're here tonight at the Hungaroring, a circuit that some of you may be familiar with. It is new to iRacing, but of course you did see Formula 1 there earlier on in the year, so track you've probably seen some racing out in recent time. His last flying lap. He won't get another one started before the timer will run out. So he's currently sitting in P10 trying to make his way up the order. Vandel out on track still with Kazinga and Barker as well, who are all trying to improve their fastest laps. Liam Caplice just jumped up into the top three in the McLaren. He's done a 1:45.12, so just shy of Kazinga and Vandel. But Barker's still seeing if he can do anything. He's out on track in the AHR media entry. And Nathan Verney, of course, in the Locked On Lads, Locked On Racing entry. And a win the last couple of weeks as well. So he'll be keen to try and replicate that again tonight. As it stands, just as we head towards the tail end, qualifying just finished as it is. Vandel in the lead in the championship, 320 points. Brett Barker second with 276. Nathan Verney third the results from last week. Of course, we don't have the actual updates there of the championship standings, so apologies for that one. So we can get them for you before we get into Pro-Am. We are still on board here with Vernie to see if he can improve. And they're on P1 provisionally at the moment. The Audi, the solitary Audi running in the series. Got a couple of new runners as well tonight in Pass 2. Those new runners, Vic Ben Velzen, he is currently on his fastest lap. Whether he gets that completed, of course, is a different question. How does Vernie do with his last flying lap? 1:45.76, 1/100th behind Brett Barker. Ben Velzen just pulls into pit lane. Ben Pollock still out on track. He has parked that one as well. But it's going to be Sebastian Vandel once again taking out pole position here at the Hungaroring for AUSPROAM Pass 2. We get into our race for the undercard tonight. And Vandel and Krzinga looking to probably have a better round than last week. He did get a little bit impacted by some early race incidents. Tried to make his way back up through the field. Not quite able to get that done. So anyhow, let's have a look here at our grid Pass 2. And it is round 7 of Pass 2 here on FGM Cast. So it is Vandel and Krzinga, a familiar lineup at the front with Liam Caplice and Brett Barker off row 2. Then it's Nathan Vernie and Adam Whalen off row 3. Blake Urquhart and Ben Pollock off 4. Then Andrew Goldman, John Baldwin off row 5 with Patrick Panton and Nick Buxton off row 6. As we head across the page, we've got Nick Warnst and Stephen Birchinall off row 7 with Rodney Hobbs and Vic Bent Velzen off row 8 with Andrew Hayes there not running in this field. So welcome to Vic to the series as well, as we head on to the grid. There'll be a short warm-up here and then we'll get straight into the race. You see him here there waiting to get out on grid, on the track, I should say. Get out behind the pace car, get the race underway. Just start to make the way away now. So they'll form up behind the pace car. Vandel once again leading us away with Krzinga next to him. Form up 2 by 2. It's going to be a testing run, this one. Go to get away from round 7, come around the curve and they will be off and running. Not quite formed up as well as they need to be here. The light goes green and off they go, and it's Liam Caplice with a good start. Krzinga just trying to close him down if he can, with Vandel just suffering on the inside. He'll have the preferred line down into turn 1 as we're 3 wide down into turn 1. Things shuffle away. You can see Vernie in the background there just dropping a position or 2. So he goes through turn 1. The Lamborghini there of Brett Barker just struggling as we have a battle at the front between Caplice and Vandel as they get underway. down through this first lap. It looks fairly orderly as it needs to be. But is Liam Caplice, who's got off to the flyer. He's up 2 positions already and leading at the head of this race. I was in the background there. In the background there, it was, I believe, Ben Pollock, who's gone around into the wall. And we were having to manage that one back to pit lane to get some repairs done on the Ferrari. Let's see whether or not there was any contact there. We'll go back and have a look at that in a minute. So we're here for the 30-minute race for Pass 2. It's been a fairly clean start. The police has done a good job to get away at the front. So the layout there on the right of your screen. A few stragglers left behind at the moment. My apologies, Andrew Hayes is out on track. Didn't think he was going to be taking to the race tonight. He has started, you can see him down in the background of this one, but it is going to be Liam Caplice who gets us across the line for the first time tonight. He is under pressure, however, and Sebastian Vandel looking to take advantage. Caplice closes the door as much as he can. There's no contact between the two. Vandel able to get down there and get the door closed on the exit. So good exit there for Sebastian Vandel. He's got away and gets back into the lead. Anyone going to be managing fuel tonight? Are they going to be able to manage fuel to the end with the fuel caps? A big ask. Particularly at this track, majority of the lap spent on full throttle. Always a little wiggle there for Vandel. Down through turns 5 and 6. Many of you may not be that familiar with this track. I'm sure that we'll have some curly questions for us later on, maybe about the history of this track, of course. Before that, McLaren of Caplice here, seeing if he can make up that little bit of ground. We have a Ferrari, McLaren and Lamborghini in our top 3. McLaren, Ferrari and Audi to extend out to the top 6, which includes Nathan Verney, Blake Urquhart, Hendrik Kazinga, Brett Barker, Liam Caplice and Sebastian Vandel leading. Let's jump back here and have a quick look as things have stabilised just at this instant with Ben Pollock. In there, that's the car with 8 on the windscreen. Through this section of track, looks like he's just grabbed a little bit too much of the curb there. Oh, and in the background there, looked like, not too sure who that was who went off behind it. Might have been Nick Buxton, in fact, who got caught up in that. You can see the damage, and then a couple of the late runners coming through there. So that's an unfortunate incident. But he's back out on track. He's just ahead of our leaders here. He's just pulled down to the inside there to let them through. That's smart racing. So unfortunately, he does go a lap down. Vandel and Caplice continue to battle away at the front. Vandel's put in the fastest lap here so far, 1:45.43 to 1:46.07 of Liam Caplice. Certainly got some pace in that Ferrari. A couple of drivers in the pre-race saying that the Ferrari has a pretty strong setup here. Of course, the parity system in play now, specific for Pass 2. With the Pro-Am having their own top 2 drivers in Pass 2 impacting on that. And that is a horsepower restriction for those vehicles. So we're through another lap here. Blake Urquhart's looking a bit racy as well. He has got Verney for company. They're trying to track down Hendrik Krasinga, and we're happy with his start. Down 2 places, but with a clean car. He was 3 wide through the first section of the track, getting things underway. So he gets through there without any damage and settle in. Stephen Virginal, who is in a Mercedes, not the most popular car of choice for Class 2 or Pro-Am, but Rodney Hobbs now having company. Hobbs has been campaigning the Panda liveried Mercedes, Crazy Panda, Angry Panda, whichever it is. Could be both. He's been campaigning that one all season, so he's finally got some company. Last week, so it's dropped down the field a little bit. One of the most striking liveried Porsches in all of AUSPROAM. This is coming up on the back of Ben Pollock. And John Baldwin. No, it wasn't John Baldwin. That's not early on. Anyway, up in the front, we've got a challenge again for the lead. Caplice has taken that from Sebastian Vandel. Can he keep it there? He does. So another move for the front. I should say another move at the front with Caplice taking back the lead from Vandel. They've had 2 swaps for the lead so far. Caplice with that cracking start, managing to get away. Vandel taking it back, and now Caplice back in the lead. And we're 7.5 minutes in. Already 3 changes for the lead of this race. But Parker not looking like he's got too much in the Lamborghini at this stage to be able to impact on this battle at the front. Kazinga's trying to chase him down. It's just stabilised here between these 3, Kazinga, Urquhart, Vernie and Barker. And there's a good gap back to Andrew Goldman. It's like a new livery for us to have a look at there in that Porsche. It's actually fantastic. Look at that one. First bits of the job. So look at how different liveries the drivers spend time putting together. So he's got Adam Island trying to chase him down. Now Vandel. Oh, there's a change there. What's happened there? We have completely missed that. Apologies there. Liam Caplice has obviously had an issue. He's gone off track. Let's go back and have a look at it. He has surrendered the lead. So they're heading down here. Oh no, there's a bump there. And there will be a penalty. No doubt headed the way of Sebastian Vandel after that one. That is unfortunate. And that's put a lot of damage on the back of that McLaren. That'll get fixed in the pit stop, so don't be surprised to see necessarily Caplice come in early here, get that damage repaired. Just depends on how much it impacts on the back of that Lamborghini and its outright pace. But it wouldn't surprise me to see him come in and get that damage repaired. There's probably a bit of damage to the front of the Ferrari as well. Down now in the lead. Leave the rest of that up to the stewards after the meeting. Barker and Krasinga now up into the top 3. Like now Vandel has actually decided an interesting move to redress that position, so he's stuck all the way back behind Liam Caplice. I like that. It's good sportsmanship, well done, Seb. So He's effectively admitted fault there and redressed. It doesn't help Caprice as such, but it's about as much as can be done in the situation. That gives Brett Parker the lead of the race. What can he do? Krasinga there getting on the headlights, just letting him know he's there. Like Urquhart, of course, is the one who's under a little bit of pressure. He's got Nathan Varney chasing him down. On board now with Bernie. Products come back a little bit to the pack now, which is good. So we'll be our favour there for a long time with iRacing, getting penalties and balance and power adjustments more so. It's a good package. And we're doing a good job showing us exactly why. It's a very, very say easy car to drive. It is a relatively easy car to drive, similar to the Ferrari once you get used to it. In my experience, tends to be a little bit slower in a straight line than its competitors, so maybe not against the McLaren. Good exit here from Vernie. He's going to be able to put some pressure on, and then draft and use it, which he can. Goldman jumps into pit lane, first of the stoppers. As in the background you can see a move being done by Vandel, trying to get through on Liam Caprice, not able to get it done. All the curve that he's able to straight line that. You can also see here it looks like Caprice, my apologies, is struggling a little bit for grip, caused by that damage more than anything else. Probably tyre wear related. Just the damage to that right in the corner of the car. Just changing that setup slightly. Definitely change that setup slightly. He's just struggling for grip. Up in front of us though, we've now got the trio of dips. Urquhart and Krasinga all close together now. In fact, even now Caprice and Vandel joining in on this battle. He's got a bag of licorice all sorts here. Ferrari, McLaren, Audi. And in fact, we've got Caprice jumping into pit lane. I'm not surprised about that. Struggling a little bit for pace. They're doing a good job managing a damaged car. He'll get that repaired. He'll be fueled to the end to be able to make his charge now. Hope for some clean air. He should come out in clean air. Have some clean air, put in some good, quick, consistent laps, and hope that Vandel and the like get held up, battling away for position here. Lap time's pretty consistent in the mid 47s. So we'll see how Caprice goes out of pit lane. See how quick he can get in that one. Hi Dave, just until Carl gets in a little later on, mate. Just do the pass to by myself. All the big guns get loaded up for the Pro-Am. Get past that critical halfway point in the race now, so expect to see some more of these drivers pit in. As Urquhart here tries to make the move down the inside of Krzinga. With the hairpin. There's another one coming. Is anyone going to duck into pit lane? No, not at all. They're all going to keep going. This four-way battle for P2 continues on. Krzinga under pressure now. Urquhart got a good run out of the final corner. He's looking, see if he can get it down the inside here. He'll pull in. He'll brake late if he can. That McLaren squirming under brakes, just trying to keep the rear under control. Not able to hold off Urquhart though, who moves up into P2. Krzinga under pressure from Vernie as well. Vernie under pressure from Vandel, so Vandel looking to get down the inside and does that on the Audi. It's the double back though, and the Audi continues. Oh, a little bit of contact there between the two. Elbows out, good racing. And side by side the whole way through there, and finally Vernie needs to concede. Vandel goes through, moves back up into P4, having led this race. I think sorting themselves out at the front, the teammates in MSR colours on their way now. Urquhart looking to chase down the lead of this race. Barker's got a 1.5 second gap to our race leader. Liam Caplice come out in P11. He's had the McLaren new bar put on that one and the damage fixed. We're just waiting to see what lap time he checks in with. Of course, not new tyres, but he will have the fuel load on board, but clean air. The longer these guys in front keep battling away, the more he will like it. To go here, Hungaroring. First time on FGME cast actually, only for Pro-Am. Good to see our YouTube spammers made their way back into the mix as well. Gotta love the ability for YouTube to block these people as we continue to do it. I guess if you're interested in what they're selling, there it is. Thanks for jumping into the stream wherever you are. Headlight flash there from Vandel. As Warnst, Birchnell and Hobbs jump into pit lane, so the cycle starts. It's Liam Caplice back up into P8 with a 1:46 flat. Last lap around, so he was faster than everyone in front of him. He'll like those numbers, he'll want them to keep coming. Brett Barker's checked out a little bit at the front here. Urquhart is chasing, but in the background there you can just see Krzinga and Vandel fighting. This last step on the podium. Vandel now makes the dive down. Almost carbon copy of what he tried on Vernie, which worked. Vernie now looking to get the job done on Krzinga. Vernie pulls into pit lane to get his stop done. If that was planned, or if it was just a consequence of not quite getting that move done there, he decided to get out of this pack and have a run on his own. Sinker on the headlights again there. Just letting you know. Where does Vernie come out? Actually, he's in the lane now. Liam Caplice coming down the straight, so Caplice will get that position back, you would figure. He does, there he goes underneath. So Caplice now, the lead car who has stopped. Pit lane transit time around 40 seconds. And the gap between him and race leader Brett Barker currently stands at 38 seconds. Yeah, because Barker will have to take on less fuel when he does jump into pit lane. But there is a good shot here for Caprice to potentially take out the race win here. He needs to keep putting in these laps. You can see it there, 36 seconds. The gap between our race leader, Brett Barker, and Vernie. And my apologies, and Caprice. When will these leaders jump into pit lane? Here it is. So Barker into pit lane. Urquhart, Sebastian Vandel, and Hendrik Kazinga goes in. So Urquhart and Vandel stay out. Kazinga in, Barker in, Adam Whalen in. What about Nick Buxton, who of course did get a little bit of damage from that early incident? You can see it there on the right hand front corner. He chose to stay out. Not a bad move actually. So he's jumped up. He's in P6 as he enters pit lane. What we're interested in now is Liam Caprice. Where does he get around? Can he pop out in front of Hendrik Kazinga? Kazinga's in his pit box now. As the time ticks go by, here goes Brett Barker as well, who was in the lead of this race when he came through. Where are they? They're going to... Oh, there he is there. So not a massive gap between Barker and Caprice. Now for the effective race lead. We said it was going to be close. Also expect that Caprice will get out in front of Vandel and Urquhart. As the gap when Barker jumped into pit lane was less than a second. It's going to be real close. So this one's going to have a good finish to it. As all these past two races seem to. So Urquhart and Vandel can't be too far off needing to pit. And the Senna car's looking very resplendent. Running together at the front here. The question is, how far will they be out in front after the pit? Jump in now, so I'm not going to have to wait too long to find out. To get a good entry in. So they pull up there at the pit limit lane. Slow right down. So let's jump on board with Brett Barker now. You can see where he is on screen. He's highlighted in the number 3. So he's still got to negotiate the final 2 hairpins. Sweepers, hairpins. Anyway, he's got to negotiate the final 2 turns, as does Caprice. Vandel is in his pit box. Now Urquhart in his pit box. Urquhart on his way out. Here comes Brett Barker. Blake Urquhart out on track. Is going to not hold on to the lead. And you can see there as well Caprice. Oh, he is. He's going to challenge and there's going to be contact. There's going to be contact there. You can see Caprice had to take evasive action. But Caprice goes up into P2. Vandel into P3. There's going to be a question there about whether or not he was far enough into the corner out of pit lane to make that defensive move, and whether or not potentially Barker might have been involved in that. So we've effectively got now Barker in the lead with a question mark potentially with Caprice and Vandel coming out. Caprice getting the lead. The job done to come back out after the pit lane cycle and retain that position in front of Vandel, who these two were exchanging positions for the lead of this race early on. So Vandel made a mistake, redressed that mistake by dropping down to P7, which I think will be looked on favourably. I don't think he's got any damage to come at the end of this race. Nathan Verney now very much involved in this one too. This looks like there's a little bit of a mistake there. The Ferrari getting down the inside, getting pushed wide again, Caprice. As the drag race continues, we're nearly 4 wide there. As Vernie, I don't think knew if anyone was around him or not. Caprice having to take a little bit of evasive action there. So this is where the battle lies. Brett Barker, many times checked out at the front. And it looks like Caprice trying to get the job done. Oh, as Vandel runs wide. Vandel runs wide, so that opens him up to a potential challenge here. That McLaren is all over the shop. Really struggling with the left-hand rear corner of that car. Not too sure why. You can just see it waving about there for the minute. So Vernie here looking to take advantage. So Krasinga, he's closed right up on the back of Vernie as we go 2 wide down into turn 1. See, there it is again. Oh, it's a bias issue potentially. Just grabbing the back of that McLaren and off he goes again. He's susceptible here. Krasinga looks like he's going to get through. The way the track positions itself will help Caplice try and retain that position as Krasinga now runs wide. So Caplice retains that position. Vernie looks like he's going to get the job done back on Hendrik Krasinga here as well. So another change. Urquhart back into the mix here as well. He'll have vengeance on his mind. So Caplice under pressure here from Nathan Vernie. What can Vernie do in these closing stages? Vandel has checked out. He's in pursuit of Brett Barker. I think he's going to run out of laps though. As Barker 3.6 seconds up the road to the good now. So the real battle to watch here is P3. The police holding on in a McLaren. Looks like it's got the rear, or maybe issue sorted. Maybe it's a hardware thing. I'm not sure. Got real tail happy on the brakes. Felt like maybe it might have been a brake bias issue. Maybe just adjusting it a little too far. Krasinga tries to go around the outside, not able to get that done there. That's too long a way to go. She's probably trying to hold on for this corner here as Urquhart looks to do the same thing to him. Urquhart couldn't quite get underneath Krasinga there. There would be nothing but a tissue paper between Urquhart and the fence there as well, as he just looks to take every advantage. In the background, Andrew Goldman looks like he wants to get involved here. So Caplice defending hard down into turn 1. Krasinga looking to get involved. Vernie on the outside. Vernie will get the preferred line if he can hold on here. He'll get the preferred line through the next sequence of corners. The police will look to close that out. He does that. Krasinga again looks to go around the outside. Back Vernie says, no, I'm going to stick it here. I'm going to see if I can hold on. He does that. Caplice does it back to him down the other side. Looks like Urquhart and Krasinga in the background trying to do the same thing. There's a bit of copycat going on here. We've got 2 minutes to go in the race. This will be the last. My apologies, this will be the penultimate lap. There will be one more after this as Urquhart gets a good run on Vernie. Krasinga now moves up. It looks like he wants to get the job done. Oh, there's contact again. There's contact again. The Vernie's out. Urquhart involved in that one, and the person who gets away is Caplice. Looks like Goldman got through as well, but Goldman goes with Urquhart. Tell you what, Liam Caplice, he has got a target the size of Russia on the back of that McLaren. It has been absolutely hammered. Michael Bartab had a work Christmas party, so he is absolutely lucky to be in P3. Vandel still with that damage on it from that incident, so you never know what's going to happen there as well. It almost looks like he is slowing down. Potentially not. Anyway, let's stick on board here with Brett Barker as he commences the final lap of this race. Barker certainly... well, probably, I say certainly, I can't say certainly, but may come under scrutiny. That contact with Urquhart coming out of pit lane. So yet to see the end of this one, but as it stands, it's Barker from Vandel from Liam Caplice will be enjoying being out of the danger zone for a little bit. Urquhart's recovered up to P4. He won't be happy with that, having led this race. And Andrew Goldman, boom, up 4 positions, and he is into P5. With John Baldwin as well, P6, and we've got Patrick Panton in P7, so Krasinga drops down the order. Vernie in pit lane with that damage. Yeah, a little bit frustrated, but it was good, close racing from everyone there. Of course, Vernie just getting caught up in the challenge for position from Krasinga on Liam Caplice. But Brett Barker's run away with it here. Andrew Hayes Media sponsored entry. So I'll be happy with this. It's going to be a good solid win for him. Subject to the results being made official as he comes around the second last corner now. And we'll be switching to the AUSPROAM main game straight after this one. I'll just chat with the drivers as well. But it is going to be Brett Barker who brings home the win in pass 2. Looks like Liam Caplice has had an issue. He has gone off. And that's going to promote Blake Urquhart into P3. It is Barker from Vandel, from Blake Urquhart in an eventful pass 2 race. Andrew Goldman up into P4. Baldwin P5. Panton 6. Krasinga 7th. Liam Caplice, he is rolling slowly into pit lane. He is out of fuel. So that explains that. Not having an issue there. He has run out of fuel in the last lap of this race. So that is a shame there after a race of event for him. But it is Brett Barker taking the win with Vandel in 2nd, Urquhart in 3rd, Andrew Goldman in 4th, John Baldwin in 5th, Patrick Panton 6th, Krasinga 7th, Buxton 8th, with Warnst in 9th, and rounding out a top 10, Rodney Hobbs in the Mercedes. Looks like he's out of fuel as well. So this was a race of limited fuel, and that has resulted in a couple of the drivers not making it to the finish line. What a solid race. Another one from pass 2. These boys, they turn it on every week for us, and they do a good job. So we get to see the prelim before we head into our feature race here tonight. We're in our feature broadcast, feature part of the broadcast. I'm not even sure what I'm saying anymore. One of those things into the main game. So let's switch it over. We'll just wait for our drivers to jump into the green room as we have a look here at the Pro-Am. They're in qualifying mode here. And there is around about 6 minutes to go. So while we wait for that to continue, we've got Seb Vandel and Blake Urquhart in the green room. Let's drag them in and have a bit of a chat after an eventful pass 2 run involving both of these gentlemen who have finished up, finishing 3rd and 2nd. So we'll start with you, Blake. Welcome to the box, mate, for the first time.
Yeah, how you going, guys?
Yeah, very well, very well. An eventful race for you, mate.
Oh yeah, mate. It was a bit of a head going, but no, it was really good. I think tyres are hurt quite a lot for me around here. Got caught in a few incidents with a few people when I shouldn't be there, but it is what it is. But I'm here.
Well, and the eventful finish meant you did manage to get back after that pit lane exit contact, and you did manage to get your way back up into P3. So not all lost.
No, gained that all back. So hopefully, no loss there, and we all moved on.
Obviously, racing with your teammate Seb there as well in the MSR entries. You had a tough run last week, so you're probably hoping this week to get something a little bit cleaner. And there was information from the driver saying that the Fez was going to be strong here tonight. You just mentioned tyres there, and we saw a couple of drivers run out of fuel as well on the last lap. How did the Ferrari handle in comparison to prior weeks?
I reckon the Ferrari wasn't too bad around here. A lot of people were saying that the Ferrari was second slowest around here. But I reckon there's no difference in it. But yeah, no, the Ferrari felt good. It was just the tyres what hurt me, and yeah.
Very good. Well, the racing was fantastic. I'm sure you'll enjoy watching back the stream, mate. Just the usual shout out to sponsors and the like if you can.
Yeah, I would like to thanks MSR and the sponsors of DNL Laser Alignment and a few other sponsors who know who we got on board as well. So cheers, guys.
So that's Blake Urquhart there in P3. We'll move on to your teammate Sebastian Vandel. Mate, a really strong race at the start of proceedings tonight. It was neck and neck. I think we had 4 lead changes at the start of the race with yourself sorry, my screen's just frozen up there, and Liam, of course. How'd you find the start of the race there? Obviously, things changed a little bit later on.
Yeah, the start of the race wasn't the best. Liam got ahead of me, and then I struggled to get ahead of him, and then once I did, I just couldn't pull away. That Merc in a straight line is bloody quick.
And same for you, obviously with Blake's comments there just about the tyres in the Fez. How did you find that fared for you?
Yeah, the last maybe 5 or 6 laps, the tyres were pretty much gone, and there was just no pace and no grip.
Overall, though, managing to still secure P2, and that's going to be productive for your championship standings.
Yeah, that should be good. Brett will gain a bit back on me, I think, if not pull ahead, but that's all right. There's still, I think, 3 rounds left.
We are indeed. In fact, next week we are headed to one of my favourite tracks. We're off to Hills Villeneuve. What are you expecting to see there?
Well, from what I've heard, that's a Ferrari-dominated track, so it should be good.
So be looking forward to that one. Obviously, same with you, mate. Just a shout out to team sponsors and anyone you want to say hello to, of course, that Blake may have missed.
I'd just like to thank Stratacore, who's also one of our sponsors, and I'd like to apologise to Liam for the incident going into the chicane. I just missed my braking marker and tagged him, and I just feel really bad and want to apologise. I did redress, but yeah, I just feel bad.
Yeah, well, mate, we gave you a big shout out for the redress. That was good sportsmanship, and yeah, we'll see if anything comes of that. But you certainly did all you could to do right by what was a racing incident.
Yeah.
Good run into P2, and we'll quickly flick up to Brett Barker. A win for you tonight, Brett, in the Lamborghini. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, and something that was totally unexpected. The Lamborghini felt terrible at this track. All the gear ratios seemed off. The damn thing ran out of tyres so quick it wasn't funny. I think I just, the other guys had a bit of bad luck, and I'm not sure what happened at that pit exit. I'll go back and have a look at the replay, but I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, look, it could come into question, but we'll obviously that remains to be seen. The Lamborghini here, like navigating a barge through the Suez Canal, I imagine, particularly through the windier sections of the track. So, not surprised to hear that about the tyres, and obviously fuel for you not too much of an issue.
No, I knew that I'd have to do the pit stop. I leave it up to the crew chief to fill the car, so I'm not exactly sure how much I took on board, but the thing really felt like a dog at this track. I did not expect to finish where I did. But there you go.
Well, you certainly did, and congratulations for that. So again, just the shout out to the sponsors and the like.
Just AHR Media, Andrew Hayes, who paints all our cars for all our events. He does a great job. Johnny Baldwin, who runs in this series as well, who puts up a couple of practice sessions every now and then too for us, just to get in there and have a bit of a crack before the race day. So yeah, those guys.
Fantastic, Brett, and congratulations on the win there. Our podium 2 tonight is Brett Barker, Sebastian Varndell and Blake Urquhart. Congratulations to those gentlemen. So welcome Carl Withy into the booth for the feature tonight. We are, of course, talking about round 7 of the AUSPROAM Sim Series, brought to you by simrigs.com. And we are going to get straight into our grid tonight, Carl, as we've run a little bit over time with the interviews, but that's all good. We like talking to the drivers that have got up and had the win. And it is Ross Rizzo of Trans-Tasman Racing who has taken out pole position here with Jeff Connell next to him. Then it's Danny Davis and John Merritt off P row 2 with Boyd and Dustin Fletcher off 3. Then it's Joshua Fitt and Mitchell Bolton. Another cracking performance from Mitchell Bolton off P4 as our lead AM driver. Lachlan Capel, Adam Funslow off 5 with Rosenblatt and Wittes off row 6. We flip over the page. Peter and Gray off row 7 with Ruwalt and Mansell off 8. Then it's Tim Audie and Miles Bond off 9 with Johnson and Webster off 10. Then Luke Fitt and Christopher Hen off 11 with Glenn Boyd and Daniel Cheney off row 12. So we keep going back. It's Maverick Benson and Alex Court off 13 with McLaughlin and Orty off 14. Then it's Brookfield and Guy Leach off 15 with Aaron Raccanello and Dale Carpenter off 16. Then Phil Orty and Sam Lehman off 17 with Angus Capel and Ors Actemir off 18. And as we go one row back, it is Jeffrey Wang off the rear of the grid. Good evening, Carl.
Good evening, Stuart. Good evening, everybody. And yes, we are here at the Hungaroring for a fantastic place. What a fantastic place to race. Round 7 of the AUSPASS series, of course. We've got the pros and the AMs lining up on the front row. It's Ross Rizzo leading off the series championship leader, Jeff Connell, who's had a fantastic qualifying session. A little bit further back, we have got the AMs, of course, currently being led by Maverick Benson in the championship, Daniel Webster and Christopher Henn, the top 3 in those ones. So they're going to be looking for a strong night tonight. But this is a track that can come to bite you if you try a bit too hard, a little bit too early on.
Yeah, I think that is most definitely the case. So a very clean start in Pass 2. So expecting nothing but the same here from our Pro-Am. We're going to have the grid a little bit further back in the window as we normally try to here to try and cover everything that is going on with a grid of such size, such stature. But it is going to be one heck of a start here. The window on board with Jack Widders. Jack Widders, of course, one of those drivers we expect to see a little bit higher up, so watch out for him making his way through the field. As we go around here, they'll form up 2 by 2. It will be Ross Rizzo leading us away here at the Hungaroring. First time in the AUSPROAM Sim Series for us, racing at the Hungaroring, and we are off and running. Watch for the start. We are 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide down into turn 1. As it is John Merritt who is making the charge. We still look like we're about to go 5 wide as Boyd tries to get involved. Boyd gets close to Rizzo. There's contact. There's huge contact at the front of the field. They've got away with it though. They have got away with it and off they go. Carl, my goodness, what a start.
Yeah, they kind of got away with it. A few cars did get caught out quite a lot from that one.
Rizzo goes around.
Around he goes into turn 2. That is not a place you want to go off, because that's going to mean you're going to drop right to the back of the grid. That's a disastrous start for Rizzo.
Yeah, you won't be pleased.
Jack Boyd has got a good lead at the moment with Jeff Connell, so they're going to have a bit of a fight. We've got a big accident behind him though, just coming out of where are we? Just going through turn 2, actually a little bit further down the field. Yeah. A huge accident further back.
Looked like that might have been Dale Carpenter. It was Dale Carpenter just getting back on track. He's in the Merc now.
Instant in the chicane up towards the front. We've got a couple of cars around. We've got a Porsche, we've got a Lambo. We've got a few people who've gone around there as well, so quite a lot of incidents on this first lap. Scott Gray caught up in this one. Daniel Cheney, looks like Aaron Runcross, Sam Lehman and Joshua Fitt was the big one to get caught out in that one.
With that small window on incidents, just so that we can try and catch everything that's going on. Lachlan Capel getting a ripping start too. He's up 6 positions in a P3. He'll be pumped with that. Same with Michael Rosenblatt, up 6 positions. Christopher Henn up 9 spots. Angus Capel up 11 positions. So some huge movers on that lap 1 here for our sprint race.
That's it, some big movers, unfortunately some big losses as well. Somebody having a big spin down the front right.
Jordan Peters going around, so he's going to be careful turning that around. Really tries to flick spin that. It's a bit difficult in these cars.
Not an easy thing to do when you've got traction control on, of course.
Not at all.
Does not make it ideal. So he might have to do a bit of a reverse and get it in the right direction. That's going to be a tricky one just to get right. Not the place to have it happen, but luckily there's a bit of a gap down the back now. He's managed to get it back underway, but a lot of positions gained. So we have got Jack Boyd in the lead with Jeff Connell just behind him. BMW versus Audi, and then we've got a couple of McLarens just behind him at the moment, with Lachlan Capel, a bit of damage on his front end. Mitchell Bolton just in behind him with Rosenblatt in the BMW and John Merritt in the McLaren P6. And then there's a little bit of a gap back towards Jack Widders. And Danny Davidson, Paul Mansell and Timothy Orty to round out the top 10.
Keep that wide window going in the bottom corner there. I just want to go back and have a look at this restart. My apologies, this race start where we can.
A lot of things to dissect in that one, unfortunately. Quite a few incidents going on.
So let's have a look here on board with John Merritt. Now, Ross Rizzo leads us away. He's in the TTR nose car. Merritt gets a cracking start, an absolute bolter of a start. And then the two, looks like they just get caught up a little bit down into turn 1. It might have even been, there's almost a carousel effect there with, I think it might have been Mitchell Bolton and Jack Boyd just getting into the back of those two cars of Merit and I forget Ross Rizzo, my apologies, and Ross Rizzo, and that just caused that little slide. They got in together, managed to just get bumped around, which I think is where some of the damage on the front of Lachlan Capel's car came from, as he sort of helped correct them and get them going again. So a difficult start there for those,
Of difficult situations. Jack Boyd at the moment is having a lot of connectivity issues in front of Jeff Connell, so that car is currently blinking in and out into a different universe at the moment, and that's causing Connell just to have to ease off a little bit, just as he keeps dashing out of reality and then popping back into existence. So that's causing a little bit of a slide up at the front of the hill, allowing Lachlan Capel to gain on the back of these two.
See him there disappearing off screen in front of you. Top as well, you can see the damage to the back of the BMW of Jack Boyd. It's just from that check up at the start, so it's a little bit more Trabant than BMW. If you already know what a Trabant is, you understand what I mean.
Yeah, it's not looking its best, is it?
No. So Connell here all over the back. Mitchell Bolton, meanwhile, puts in the fastest lap of the race last time around. That very, very clean looking McLaren, 1:44.27, so significantly quicker lap.
I mean, it is fitting that you do say Trabant, of course, because we are technically behind the Iron Curtain if we go back a few years, and a favourite of that era. As Jack Boyd moves over, Jeff Connell makes a move right here for the lead, side by side as they come out of the first corner. It's going to be a drag race. You can see that BMW getting a little bit more speed down this little straight up towards turn 2. Connell got the inside line though. Little bit of contact. Connell just goes into the side of Boyd. Contact there, manages to save the car from spinning, but this has allowed Lachlan Capel to close right up to the back of Connell now. Capel and Bolton are right on the back of him. Meanwhile, John Merritt is having to battle Michael Rosenblatt as well, so those two are having a good little fight behind them. It's the McLarens now clambering all over the back of the Audi.
I think this is one of the reasons why the Formula One was so popular when it was here, that side-by-side racing. We also saw him pass too as Jack Boyd disappears on off the screen again. But that side-by-side racing for corner after corner after corner is fantastic to watch. So great to call as well. Just going to switch back here to Jeff Connell so we get a little bit more consistent view of what's going on. But that will continue. Cars all relatively evenly matched here as well. Of course, if it's the first time you've joined us on the AUSPROAM Sim Series broadcast, they are all fixed setup, and there are some power penalties based on success factors, so balance of power does apply. So it does mix things up here. The McLaren seeming strong, Ferrari was strong as well in pass 2. So interestingly enough, not so much so far in the Pro-Am, with Jack Widders, the highest placed Ferrari in P8, and was the McLaren looking to dominate early.
A lot of drivers saying they thought that the Ferrari was a better bet than a few of the other cars, especially things like the Porsche, able to get around about a second more pace out the Ferrari on the sort of first opening sort of laps than they could out of things like the Porsche and the BMW. So that car seems to be well balanced, but it's not really showing it in the field at the moment, because currently we have a BMW in the lead, an Audi second and a McLaren in third, and that's been pretty much the usual suspects all season so far for the vehicles.
Just jump back now to this huge gaggle of cars. This is just on the edge of the top 10. We've got Tim Audi in 10th position, Miles Bond, James Ruwell, Daniel Webster, Adam Funslow, Dustin Fletcher, my apologies, and Matty Johnson, all in this pack. Of course, with Auty and Bond just on screen and one behind, P2 and P3 currently in the amateur class for the series, so they are trying to chase down Mitchell Bolton, who's doing an outstanding job up in P4. These guys are very heavily in the battle pack now. The thing is, again, first time joiner, that the reverse top 10 occurs for race 2. So not only is this a race for P2 and P3 in class, but it's effectively a race for pole position in our race to come. Miles Bond will be well aware of that, as will Tim Audi, and they'll be more than happy to start right up the front, trying to avoid some of the chaos. So they'll be racing hard, not only for position in class, but for that outright 10th position in this 15-minute sprint race.
Pole position, not always a guarantee of avoiding the chaos, so we saw that earlier on. This track is one of those ones where you do get a lot of a long straight, of course, going down towards that first corner. It is a downhill braking zone as well, so when you've got cold brakes, cold tyres going into turn one, it is a corner that is easy to catch you out. And if you try and go up the inside, you will have a bit of a moment where you'll do a Bottas or a Stroll and end up taking a fair few cars out of the race very quickly.
Jump back up the front here. Lachlan Capel's just edged out a little bit more of a gap, I should say, on Mitchell Bolton. John Merritt, of course, trying to charge them down with the first of our BMWs. Michael Rosenblatt in the second of our BMWs. Of course, Jack Boyd in the lead in the Bavarian product.
Yeah, that BMW's looked strong everywhere. There's not really been a circuit where it hasn't looked relatively, on pace with everything else. Of course, that McLaren has always been up there as well, and the Audi in the hands of Jeff Connell, well, that's going to look good anyway because it's behind the hands of Jeff Connell. But you've got to say, a few of the other manufacturers just struggling out there, especially the single Mercedes that we've got out there at the moment, as Adam Funto's had a big moment.
And the Porsche as well. Daniel Webster is very capable. And he is currently sitting all the way down in P13. Of course, he's fourth in class. But Porsche, no surprise it's struggling at one of the higher pace circuits.
Yes, it's been a tricky debut for the Porsche. It's got to get its teeth in, of course, the new Ferrari out there as well, the new variation of that Ferrari. But this track is one of those circuits that, it gets compared to Monaco quite a lot because it's not the easiest to pass on. You can make the overtakes if necessary, but it is quite a narrow track. And one of the big issues here as well is when you go offline, it is a very slippery track as well. There's a lot of dust that tends to congregate on the circuit, and it causes the offline sections to be very slippery, and you get that a lot in iRacing as well. Is offline it tends to be a lot more difficult, and which sort of means you tend to stick to the racing line as much as you can so you don't lose too much time. And as I say, it is a very narrow circuit as well. It's got those grass verges either side of the track which will catch you out very quickly, and you're going around at a fair whack of speed, and all you need to do is dip the wheel on that grass, and all of a sudden you will find a barrier very quickly.
Yeah, we can see that during pass 2 as well. So spot on there. It takes for a lap around here, of course, as well, Carl, in the break. Can't do that during the longer race. Just run wide, so he would have picked up an off track for that one in front. We've got off track score according to the sim here, so there could be some drive-throughs coming for the main race if the driver's uncareful.
I'm not surprised, in all honesty. The off-track here is really, really severe. It's very much keeping it in the white lines, and pretty much turns 3, 4, 5, 9, 11, 12 will all catch you out very quickly. So it is so easy to get an off-track here. It is, it's pretty crazy. It's a real big struggle actually to get around this place and have a clean lap as Jeff Connell makes a nice lunge down the inside. Bit of hip and shoulder action there, Connell on Boyd, but Connell makes it stick on the inside, gets a big whack on his rear suspension, but keeps that car pointing straight. Connell takes the lead from Jack Boyd.
Yeah, getting it done there. Would have been a 4x there for that contact, maybe a 2x anyway for Boyd. Of course, Connell cops it as well, so it could hurt.
It'll be interesting to see in the feature race how many drivers get close to a drive-through. I think it's 17?
Yeah, I believe so.
Penalty, and then 9 every after that. So, I think people will be getting close to it just because it's so easy to get an off-track here, especially in these GT cars, because they are so very wide. You sort of feel like you're inside the lines, and then all of a sudden you get a 1x for going out of bounds of the circuit, and it is not a very forgiving place to drive.
again. Still trying to get that move done for P10. He's very close in the Lamborghini. The driver's in the pass 2. Complaining a little bit about the tyre life for the Lamborghini. So that'll be interesting to see here. Of course, the Ferrari, the favoured unit. And so you've got 2 of that pace syndicate Bolognese entries head to tail here. Trying to go around the outside there for Bond. That hasn't worked for him. He's run wide. Let's open the door for his teammate to go through. His teammate gets back through. Bond back on track now. It's there racing. Look like Dustin Fletcher in the Simrigs.com entry wants to try and make his way through, but Bond fighting hard in the Lamborghini. In the background, head 10 to Webster goes off and pays a visit to one of the grandstands. Comes back on the track as we've got the white flag out and waving. It is the last lap here for the 15-minute sprint races. Down in the background there, the Rue entry. I think that's Matthew Johnson gets down the inside of Daniel Webster as well. So, there's hip and shoulder there as well as Red Rue gets some contact from the Porsche.
Lots of contact going on out there tonight. We saw a little bit of it up at the front as well. Jeff Connell just getting a little bit of a tag in the back by Boyd as well. And we've got a massive battle between the McLarens behind him as well, of Cable, Bolton and Merritt at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So Cable there just trying to hold off Bolton and John Merritt to be happy with this, secure the P3 for the minute. It's been a tough move from the AM to Pro class in Season 5 for Capel.
It's been a rough start to the season, but has always had pace and been thereabouts for Capel. It's just getting the consistency and the just being settled down a little bit. And I think once that happens, we are going to see a driver really chasing on. Jack Boyd gets a lot of wheel spin as he goes very wide, getting through the final section of the track. Will that be enough for Cable to get past? Not quite. It is going to be Cable. It's Connell and Boyd having to come in to penalties, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Penalties. So
Unbelievable.
Cable's going to get the victory
Cable's going to get the win. Unbelievable. You know what, as well, unfortunately for Connell, that is from that incident potentially where Boyd did make contact with him.
I reckon that was on the last lap. I reckon they just got them going on the last lap, just going a little bit wide. They both ran wide at one point, and I think that was it. They were so close on penalties that they ended up getting them. So that is a huge blow for both those drivers, but a huge boon for Lachlan Cable for getting the win in the Pro class.
We'll have an absolutely huge smile ear to ear. According to my little tattletale monitor here, he may have only had 1 point left himself. So, but we do know, not necessarily always the most accurate.
Sure. No, I think it will be close or thereabouts.
Sure that we do sprint race victory donuts here, but anyway, we'll let him go. There goes the motor. Oh no, that was someone in the background there just smashing up their Porsche. Obviously not too happy with that. So anyway. We've got Cable Bolton, and that means Mitchell Bolton in our AM leader finished in P2. So it was Pro and AM sharing first and second, and John Merritt in third. After that cracking start, Merritt gets back up into P3. Michael Rosenblatt, Jeff Connell, Boyd, Davison, Wittes, Mansell, and Tim Audie rounding out a top 10. So Audie will be our pole position driver for the main race coming up after we get through this 5-minute warm-up section.
Connell and Boyd both sent down to 30th and 31st positions, so that is a big oof there. That's going to be a painful one.
Hefty penalty indeed, particularly starting at a track like this, which is going to be fairly close knit. So, Danny Davison's out on track, Carl. When we tried to do this last week, of course, whoever jumped on with span out and didn't help us get a talk through of the lap done. Do we want to give it another try, or have we got some other stuff that we want to cover off? Do you want to have a look at potentially the championship standings?
We can absolutely give it a try, but we can have a quick glance at the championship standings as well as we get around for that first lap. We've still got a little bit of time.
Let's do it.
So, championship standings-wise, it's Jeff Connell in the lead over Jack Boyd in second, John Merritt in third, fourth is Danny Davidson, Scott Gray in fifth, sixth is Ross Rizzo, seventh Lachlan Capel, Jared Hughes in eighth, ninth is James Rewald, and 10th is Joshua Fitt, and that's in the Pro class. In the AM class, I did have that sitting here ready to go. Where is it gone? There we go. It's Maverick Benson with Daniel Webster in second, Christopher Henn third, Guy Leach fourth, fifth Tim Fiorti, sixth Hugh McLaughlin, seventh Richard Brookfield. Sorry, I've got to zoom in a little bit here. Dave Roberts in 8th, 9th is Ryan Casher, and 10th is Glenn Boyd. So that gets us the drivers done as we come around to start this lap with Danny Davidson here at the Hungaroring here in beautiful Budapest. So we come down the start-finish straight here, uphill for this section, which is soon going to turn to downhill towards turn 1. Relatively steep descent down here for turn 1, very tight right-hander on the brakes, dropping down to around about first to second gear. Get in nice and tight, catch the apex. Don't want to run too wide here as you will get yourself a 1x off the track. Second little corner here, which is going to take us up towards turn 2, the left-hander. Bit of camber on this one, a little bit off camber as you start going into the corner. It goes on to camber as you get through it. A nice sweeper for turn 3, gets you through very easily. Nice corner to take up towards turn 4 now. Of course, this is where Massa got hit by Rubens Barrichello's spring long ago. Breaking into this corner, you just want to get it in there nice and early. You can run wide there, it's a tricky corner to make. The long right-hander of turn number 5 now towards the little chicane of turn 6 and 7, dropping all the way down in speed. Want to get across those curbs nicely. Watch out for the big sausage curb on the inside. Turn 8 now, left-hander. Just get the car in. You want to get it settled for turn 9, the right-hander. This is the twisty section of the track. Little sprint of acceleration towards turn 10. Left-hander almost flat out. Turn 11, braking into this corner. Just get the car settled. Run a little bit wide on the exit here as you head up towards turn 12. The right-hander dropping down to around about second gear if you want to keep the car stable. First if you want a little bit of extra speed. Now we get to the really tight turn 12 and 13. Pit entry on your right-hand side. It is a tight pit entry. You can make mistakes here as you go through turn 14. Again, off the brake, off the accelerator, just waiting to put the power on mid-corner. Get on there nice and late so you can get through the corner nicely. And that's a lap of the Hungaroring here in Budapest. Yeah, that's it. It's one of those circuits that is very demanding, and it's quite a physical track as well as a mentally exhausting track as well. It is just so tight-knit. There are a couple of little straights where you can stretch your hands a little bit, but there's nowhere where you can really grab a drink or quickly grab your drinks bottle and have a quick sip of your water or something like that. The straights aren't really long enough. The front straight, it gets towards turn 1 way too quickly, and you sort of don't have enough time to really stretch or do anything, so you are pretty much on it all the way around here. No, the pit lane here is quite it's a relatively hefty stop, because you lose a lot of time going through turn 14, but because it's on the straight, it's sort of going to lose a lot more time if you take those tyres. I think it's not going to be worth it. Wait for us to be proven wrong, though, of course, as somebody wins the race by taking tyres, as is tradition. It is indeed. You might see, of course, the trouble you've got is when you come in, if you make an early stop and get that fuel early, you've got to go take those tyres longer on a heavier tank of fuel as well, and that's going to give them more wear. So there is all that to calculate as well. But speaking of Lamborghinis, it's going to be a Lamborghini 1-2 on the front row, with Miles Bond, James Rutwald in P1 and 2 at the start of this race. Then we're going to have Timothy Audi and Paul Mansell on the second row, Jack Widders and Danny Davidson on the third row. Fourth row is Michael Rosenblatt, John Merritt, Mitchell Bolton and Lachlan Capel make up the final 2 rows for P10. Then we have Dustin Fletcher, Matthew Johnson, Daniel Webster, Maverick Benson, Luke Fitt, Hugh McLaughlin, Glenn Boyd, Angus Chappell, Daniel Cheney, Christopher Henn rounding out the top 20. 21st, 22nd, Alex Court and Rantiello, Jeffrey Wang and Admir, 23rd, 24th, Richard Brookfield, Jordan Peters, 25th, 26th. 27th, 28th is Derek Orty and Scott Gray, Phil Orty and Jeff Connell. 29th and 30th, Jack Boyd down in 31st. 32nd, 33rd is Funslow and Lehman. Ross Rizzo down in 34th with Dale Carpenter, 35th. 36th for Joshua Fitt, Guy Leach, 37th, and 38th, Arma Sharma. And we are about to get underway here for the feature race. Miles Bond is going to lead away in the wonderful Bolognese Lamborghinis with James Rowland on his outside. Will we see a big dash to the first corner? It is Lamborghinis and Ferraris at the front at the moment. They are trying to find a little position, seeing where they can get down for this first corner. They're going to make it through at the front. They've made it through safely at the front this time. A little bit further down in the mid-pack, there's a couple of contacts, but nothing major that I can see. Up towards the front, it is Miles Bond in the lead at the moment as he gets to turn number 2.
Yeah, good start there from Bond. Of course, Bond promoted into the top 10 with the penalties handed out to Jack Boyd and Jeff Connell, who are way down in the pack. They're already up 4 or 5 positions though, so we'll keep an eye on them. Bond with a good start here. James Ruwald, his teammate, right behind him. He can't be in better company. Jack Wittes gets the benefit as well. Look forward to seeing how that Ferrari goes in his hands with Mansell and Tim Orty just behind him as well. Wittes already all over the back of Ruwald, just trying to see if he can find a way through. Not just yet. He's going to have to be patient. Might be able to get it done through the slums. We can get alongside one of these 2 Lamborghinis and be able to use the better handling characteristics of the Ferrari. There's a huge incident in the background.
Admar, Scott Gray, Jeff Connell caught in that one. I can see off the top of my head quite a few drivers caught up in that one. They just got spun around just in the middle of that section, and that's not where you want to have an accident happening. There's not much track to go around.
No, it looks like Josh Fitt also got involved in that one, unfortunately for him. So Connell getting caught up. That's the difficulty with that penalty. Boyd still managing to make his way up to the 24th position, trying to resurrect where they started from. But at the front, Bond starting to check out a little bit now as his teammate Ruwald battles with Jack Wittes at the start of this race. Paul Mansell, expect him to be quick as well in the 5 entry. I should say, I was about to say the 51 entry. That's his teammate. He gets through lap 1. It is Miles Bond in the lead, Pace Syndicate Bolognese entry.
But it looked like Richard Brookfield got caught up in that one as well as Scotty Gray and Ozak Asmar. They were trying to go 3 wide into the chicane, and that is not going to work in any car that you take into this racetrack.
So here we see Wittes trying to get down underneath. Sorry, Carl. Trying to get down underneath now. The switchback will work here for Ruwald. He'll be able to defend. Oh no, and he can't because Wittes shuts the door. Quick, smart. Doesn't want that action to happen. Saw that before in race 2, so that promotes him up into P2. Wittes now. And he is on his way. He wants to try and get hold of Miles Bond as Luke Fitt has had another incident there in the bottom corner of the screen. And as wide goes Ruwald. Ruwald is wide, and he's got the Bolognese stopped. It's fair to say that's a meatball off the plate, and he's run right down into the corner.
Yeah, that was a bit of a saucy moment for him, but he's managed to recover it at least now. Not what you want to have happen though at this track.
That's a weak car. Anyway, off they go, but Wittes still battling here. He's already caught up on a Bond, putting him under pressure. Miles will be used to this. Real-time racer as well in South Australian sports sedan, so be used to it. It's a fantastic looking car. Jump on and have a look at that on social media. We'll talk about that later on. So now it is that he's doing the best he can to make that Lamborghini as wide as possible against the Ferrari pressure of Jack Wittes.
Yeah, it's a battle of the Italian and the Lamborghini, of course. So it is a battle of the Italian marks up the front, Ferrari versus Lamborghini. So the Tifosi will be cheering this one on. Jack Wittes, though, making a late lunge down the inside of turn 1 and makes a beautiful pass there. John Merritt doing the exact same thing behind him in the McLaren now, chasing down the Italians very quickly. Those two got a McLaren on the hunt, as well as the BMW of Michael Rosenblatt. So we've got some real competition out there. Paul Mansell just losing out a little bit, gets in contact with John Merritt, and into the wall they go. Big accident. That's going to cause another one. No, they've just missed. They just missed the remainder of the pack. That could have been a huge accident.
That was unbelievable. That cars, you can see this, the tracks off in the dirt there in the background. They end up getting caught together. That Lamborghini is going to drive like a smash meat pie. He's going to have to jump back into pit lane there to avoid any incident. And very lucky there, the drivers behind, so Rosenblatt, Bolton, Johnson, probably saw the light flashing before their eyes. We're only 4 minutes into this race, Carl, and there has been a ton of stuff go on, but Rosenblatt up into P3 now, Bolton and Johnson making up the top 5, and our race winner from race 1, Lachlan Capel, up into P6 already as well.
Yeah, we've got some big movers out there at the moment. We've got a few people that have decided to come in and get their fuel stops done, but I think most of them are because of damage or getting caught up in incidents, so not the preferred strategy at the moment. Well, so it'll be interesting to see when we see the first pack of cars coming in.
Can we just talk about strategy for a minute? So Jeff Connell incident 2 minutes into the 5 minutes that we've had so far, already been into pit lane. What are the chances he's going to fuel save his way to the end here?
I think they're pretty strong. It's a Jeff Connell thing to do. We've seen him master these strategies before, but he's up there. Jeff Connell has also got Ross Rizzo up in front of him as well, and we know how good Rizzo is on the old fuel saving, so that's going to be an interesting little strategy to play out in this race. But they did lose a lot of time in some of the earlier instances, so it's going to be interesting to see how far they can get up. Currently they are about 48 seconds off the leader, so they're going to need to gain up a little bit of time, about a 41 to 42 second loss in pit lane, and of course they would have taken as much fuel as is humanly possible, so that may go down as this race goes on.
Wow, that was interesting. So that was us having that little technical glitch.
I think that was everybody, I think.
Yeah.
That seemed to be me, Stuart, and I think most people there. The servers deciding, in Hampstead at the iRacing server deciding it was having enough for tonight.
Perhaps going on strike like the toll delivery drivers. But anyway, Miles Bond still maintaining P2 here. Rosenblatt and Bolton out of our top 10, Carl. At the moment it is 4 pro drivers and 6 amateur drivers, if you don't mind, indicated on your screen by the green or yellow box next to the driver's name, green being pro, yellow being am, if you needed me to do the math for you there. But the interesting scenario we've got here, we know the qualifying times for this series across the span were extraordinarily close, something like 1 second covering the top 35 odd drivers, as down the inside Mitchell Bolton tries to have a look on Michael Rosenblatt, not quite able to get that done. Cheney, Court and Brookfield all in pit lane, so we know it's close, so it's on a given night. That's why we love that reverse top 10. It can be anyone's race to take out a win.
Yeah, that's it. It's so close between the different classes as well. The pros and the AMs are just so neck and neck at the moment. It's very fun to see. In the qualifying, it was just so very close to get into the series, let alone being a pro and the AM. It was not much between those two classes at the moment, which is fantastic to see. And it has made the competition so much harder for many drivers as well.
Having a look out of the windscreen of Michael Rosenblatt at the moment, he's trying to put the pressure onto Miles Bond. We've got off-tracks to worry about as well. Some penalties handed out in race 1 that was only 15 minutes long. Started this way, the race has been a little bit cleaner for the majority of the drivers up at the front. Carl was talking about it before, the capability to get an off-track here. The track is strict, and off-track being, as it sounds, if you exceed the track limits, potentially like Miles Bond did there. iRacing's done a little bit of work on the system. All 4 tyres need to be beyond that line for you to incur a penalty. It used to be a lot harsher than that. The driver's still struggling here tonight, as we see a move attempted to be made here down through the final sequence of corners. So that's going to come into play as well as we get later into the race.
Yeah, that's it. It is going to come into play, and as I say, four wheels off the white line, and that's pretty much it. I think it's only turn 12, 9, and I think that's about it where you can get onto the curbing. Free wide as we go into the corner. We've got a free wide moment as they go through past Miles Bond there. Contact
Rosenblatt. Yeah, Rosenblatt, Mitchell Bolton. I don't reckon he could see him. He was probably busy trying to focus on Miles Bond, who was on his inside going into on his outside going into that corner. Did not see Bolton down on the inside of him and just turned in a little too early.
Yeah, that's it. It was a big dive there from Bolton and just caught the back there, and that is a disaster. Yeah,
that's unfortunate, but has helped one of your favourite liveries, Carl, Matty Johnson, get up into P4.
Yes, we've got a Red Brew up there, of course, the famous Red Brew, the drink that will give you pouches. A fantastic option for everybody. It makes you hop, skip, and a jump.
I've heard it put a spring in your step, but nonetheless, it is what it is. Doing great things for Australian wildlife. But he is running up in. It's got there as P4. He is P4 outright, P3 in class. As now the only three of our pro drivers remain inside the top 10. Carl, I don't think we've said that the entire season so far.
No, that's it. And with this reverse grid and the competitive nature of the AMS at the moment, there were quite a lot of amateur drivers up towards the higher end, up in the sort of top 6 or so, and that's really helped them out. A few cars coming into pit lane right now.
Yeah, Capel and Benson into pit lane. Christopher Hen already there.
We'll see how that turns out for them, of course. That could be a nice little option for them to give them a little bit of a run later on in the stint, as if they get a nice bit of clear air from here, they can possibly put the hammer down and try and make up a few positions. Of course, track positioning and traffic management is going to be a key feature of tonight's race as well. If you can find yourself a gap out there tonight, it's really going to help you out. If you can get some clean air in front of that car, it's going to be very helpful indeed.
Webster up into P7. He's just got to try and chase down Tim Orty. At the moment he'll be thinking about championship a little bit, you'd expect, trying to make it 3 from 3 for the AM category. He was narrowly missing out on heading up into Pro during qualifying as well.
It's been, as we say, it was just very close between the AMs and the pros, and you can just see how close it is on track right now, because they are fighting it out they're fighting it out like a proper race at the moment. They're not worrying about classes, because you've got to keep ahead of that car behind you, because it might be a pro, it might be an amateur, it doesn't really matter at the moment, because you're fighting everybody around you. The only person that isn't worrying at the moment is Jack Widders, up in the lead with a good 3.4 second lead at the moment, just able to eke out a little bit of extra room in the Ferrari. We're seeing that Ferrari's legs getting stretched as the Red Roux of Matty Johnson comes into pit lane. We'll get a fast repair used, I'm sure, as well on that vehicle.
Just having a look here at Lachlan Capel, he's coming out in front of Ross Rizzo, so these are the first of our drivers who have pit in, other than Danny Davison, who's currently running in P10. But he pit on lap 0. Now, there's potentially some question marks there around the rules, but Lachlan Capel in front of Ross Rizzo. Now, Capel was running up in P4 when he jumped into pit lane, so I think this is effectively our lead pack. And I'm not surprised that Ross Rizzo's in it, so he pit on lap 1 to avoid some of that carnage. Question is, can he make it to the end of the 40 minutes stint? Should be able to. I'm not too sure on the tank capacities, but it might be close.
Will we see those BMW tyre issues creep back into existence as well? We saw it last season. The BMWs tended to be a little bit rough on their old tyres, as you see Johnson coming out in front of Rizzo there. So that's the gap there, and I said to watch out for Rizzo later on in this race, because he's been sneaking, just working his way up through the field with that early pit stop. But this is going to be good news for Jack Widders at the moment, who's building up a nice gap in the front. He's got a lighter car at the moment, able to set a nice bit of pace. That's going to be putting a little bit less pressure on the tyres as well. So if they are starting to get a bit of wear, which is possible here at Hungary, it's one of those tracks that is very tight and twisty, so you do tend to put a little bit more wear through those tyres, then it's going to help him out for later on in the stint.
He also also just keeping an eye on this man Jeff Connell to see how he fares. This is doing the long run as well, so just keep an eye on him. He's a privateer. Surely some team out there wants to snap up a driver of the quality of Jeff Connell. He's got his new gear as well, so I'm just wondering if he's how he's going getting that sorted out. So he's running on basically the Ferrari PlayStation 1 wheel for a majority of the last season, the seasons before that, and still managed to take out a championship. So upgraded
Mitchell
gear.
Bolton makes a move on Miles Bond up for P2, and Bond has got Dustin Fletcher all over the back of him as well. That Lamborghini just dropping off a little bit in pace. Are we starting to see the tyre issues starting to creep in for Miles Bond right here? Is that thing starting to get a little bit loose and starting to struggle a little bit with grip mid-corner?
The past two boys did say around 7 laps. We've done 8.5.
When we're looking at Miles Bond, shouldn't we call it past or so?
He's getting us in all sorts of ravioli there, Carl. Sort of thing we should be doing here on FGME Cast.
I know, it's terrible. It's terrible. Who would have thought that we would be making puns? It's not the kind of thing that we would do.
I must admit though, one of my favourite liveries, absolutely one of my favourite liveries. The car looks fantastic. So, Syndicate boys, 4 entries into the Pro-Am, and Miles Bond finished on the podium last week, so he'll be pretty keen to do that again this week, and that was in class. Certainly keen to do it overall. But he did take out P3 in class last week at Mid-Ohio, so it's just contact there. It's tough down into turn 1, and Lamborghini, the view out of it, as you could expect, with effectively no rear window, is not great. He's relying on his wing mirrors and his crew chief to let him know if someone's there, and sometimes that overlap's just not quite enough. As you'd see if you do join us for the streaming of our NASCAR series, sometimes it's just not enough for the crew chief to let you know someone's there. So, tiniest little bit of contact.
The one good thing about the GT cars is, of course, you do have a camera in the car, and of course that gives you a little bit of view out the rear. So you have got something that you can see out of it with. But Lamborghini's not known for their peripheral vision abilities, and they're not the best cars to look out of or try and get into. They're lovely to look at, but not necessarily to try and get into.
I was about to say, not good to get into, but good to be looked at in.
Exactly, that's it. Just never try and get out of one gracefully, because it will never happen.
At the end of the day, we're not surprised, because it's difficult. So it's not difficult to get in and out of a tractor, so they probably didn't have much concern for how difficult it was to get in and out of. Just jumped on board here with Danny Davison. He's just closing up on the back of Glenn Boyd. Danny Davison has been in pit lane, as we said, but on lap 0. So we have some question there, but we will continue on.
Look at that one.
Yeah, if you can just check the rules, there was some conjecture around pitting on lap 0 or completing one complete lap. I can't quite remember it because it went on for a little bit, and we of course do a lot of streaming across a lot of series here on FGME Cast, so we can have a quick look at that one. There was a rule change that was made. It was another Jeff Connell rule.
I think that's because Danny Davidson started in pit lane, maybe.
Potentially so. I hadn't thought of that as a potential.
Yeah, started from pit lane.
Started from pit lane, so there you go. Even more that he's up into P6. A fantastic driver. Of course, we saw him do that scorching lap, which he's actually done again now. 44.83. He's got the fastest lap of the race, all just slightly beaten by Jordan Peter, but he's been flying. So I take everything I said back. He's just been driving really, really quick.
Yeah, I'm just going back to have a bit of a look-see, just to double-check that one. But I believe that's what it was.
In which case, of course, he still will have to make a stop.
Yes.
Now, just to add a complexity to it, I'm showing Jack Wittes as having 16 points accrued.
Same here, Stuart. So it is very much on a knife edge for Widders. He's been absolutely flying, but has he been pushing a little bit too hard, too quickly, and possibly getting up those incident points? Just pushing the realms of the track a little bit too hard here.
He's just got another one
absolutely
in.
He's had speed, but yeah, that's 17 there. So will we see a drive-through happen for Widders, which will be absolutely unfortunate because that's been a really good drive so far. Mitchell Bolton in pit lane. So Bolton has decided to bolt into pit lane
As is
and
Daniel
get some
Webster.
fuel. So
I was just going to
20
say,
laps, 20 minutes remaining of it. It's we're getting towards the tail end of this race, Stuart.
yeah, Tim Orty and Danny Davison both showing 8 points by our monitor. Miles Bond with 12. So it's an interesting choice for Mitchell Bolton. We've got him on 15.
Interestingly, I've got Jeff Connell on 16 as well. So Jeff Connell might
absolutely. I can see
leaving
that. They just can't keep track of it. They're just racking up like lotto numbers here. But Jack Widders will see. Obviously, he's going to have to make a stop anyway. That doesn't help him with the drive-through. We'll have to do that separately.
No, that's it. I was out in the practice session earlier on, putting the car through its paces and getting a bit of an idea, and I must admit I was pretty much off track every lap, at least once or twice a lap. It is very, very strict here, and it is really, really close. Yeah, as I say, especially in these GT cars, you feel you're sort of driving around and you don't realise you've gone off track. You sort of feel like you're within limits, and it is just off track, off track, off track. Very different to an open wheeler, which I was racing here a couple of weeks back. So it is very different indeed. Jack Widders coming into pit lane now. Will this be for the fuel stop and everything like that, or does he have to serve that drive-through?
Yeah, well, let's have a look. Looks like he's going to be stopping. In behind him as well, Miles Bond, Tim Orty, Danny Davison jumping through pit lane. Of course, we are across the halfway line now in this race. And he will do his stop, so we'll just have to keep an eye out if he does end up coming back through pit lane. This effectively puts Derek Orty into the lead of the race. He's still yet to stop. Sam Lehman also still yet to stop. Derek Orty showing 16 incident points, Sam Lehman 15. So they're spending him like candy. So probably more like coins at a candy store. You don't generally spend candy, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, you could trade candy, I guess. It's if you're living in a sort of trade style system, it has value. So I'm sure you can spend candy in some way. This is going to shuffle. Jack Widders is still in the lead. His pit stop was nice and quick, but there is question marks if he has to come in for a bit of a drive-through. So will we see Lachlan Capel back in the lead of this race ahead of Mitchell Bolton and Ross Rizzo? Ross Rizzo as well on the verge of getting a penalty too. So they are all getting very close to that limit. Yes.
So as is Lachlan Capel, Sam Lehman, in fact, everyone back.
Oh, around goes Jeff Connell. Huge accident for Jeff Connell. Just gets caught with a little bit of net code, I think, possibly, or it just gets a little bit of a tank slapper on. Just gets a tank slapper and around he goes. Big incident there. Manages to avoid the rest of the cars, but that is a huge amount of damage to Connell's car, and that might be him out of this race.
Yeah, if he didn't have a drive through before he will there, he would have got a 4X for that one. And that will mean that he'll have a drive through to serve as well. So we're just having a look at Jack Widders here. Let's see if he comes in this lap. We believe that he may do for a drive-through penalty as Derek Orty comes in. In fact, he's got 17 incident points as well by our register, so he potentially has the same issue. As Widders keeps out there, Sam Lehman goes in to serve his pit stop. So I know the counter isn't necessarily the most accurate, but it's close.
Yeah, I've got 19 for Widders now, so it's if it's not close, then it is now. So these things are not always accurate, unfortunately, but we do tend to get a rough idea of what's going on. So we'll see how this one pans out as the race goes on.
As Lachlan Capel looks to be having some internet issues there as well. He's just dropped in and out like he was at a rave.
quite a few people having server issues tonight. Unfortunately, it seems like the iRacing hamster hasn't been fed enough food for the day.
So I wonder if it's an iRacing issue more than anything else.
Wow, the joys of servers.
Anyway, Bolton has Rizzo behind him and Johnson behind him as well, as we're in a three-way race. Capel there just moves over. So, I mean, he wouldn't have got a slow down, not through that segment of the track. He's showing 16 incident points, so maybe he's just trying to manage, if that is the accurate count, manage his way through to the end of this race. It's a long, long way, 15 minutes, and without getting an incident point.
It is indeed, and as I say, it's one of the tricky tracks to. Well, it's a very tricky track to make it on, and you know, this will be some of the guys' first races as well tonight here, because it is very new to iRacing, of course, the Hungaroring. So quite a few people, their first time out here tonight, and that can really catch you out. And speaking of first time out, Stuart, leads me on nicely to a little bit of a question for you.
Oh dear.
So, two drivers have made their Formula 1 debuts here at the Hungaroring. One of them was Robert Kubica of Poland. The other one was the only Hungarian driver to race at the Hungarian Grand Prix. He made his debut back in 2003. So as Stuart works away on that one and tries to think up an answer there, because that's a really evil question, we have got Jack Widders in the lead at the moment. Mitchell Bolton setting the fastest lap last time round and is absolutely flying as it stands. That McLaren looks to have some pace in it right now.
Yeah, it does indeed. So he's got. I reckon Capel might be just trying to manage behind to see if he can get through without see if he can manage to get through without getting any extra incident points, but
I think it's going to come down to something as simple as just running a tiny bit wide here could cost you a huge amount. My incident points counter is obviously not working correctly because I've got 24 for Widders at the moment, so he is definitely over that amount. But we'll find out as this race goes on and see what happens here tonight. But we did see earlier in the race was Rizzo and Connell who both got very much in over the line and crossed over the track limits and got themselves a drive through at the end of that race, at the end of the sprint race, which cost them a lot of positions. Well, we see a similar thing happen here in the feature race. Rizzo has done a fantastic job of recovery. 31 positions gained here at the Hungaroring. A mammoth effort.
as he tries to make a move now down the inside of Mitchell Bolton, not quite able to get that done. Jordan Peter, as you say, up 19 positions, Ross Rizzo up 31, so some big moves. Jack Boyd the same now. Boyd is up into P12.
Yeah, good battle going on here, and it is a fantastic little fight we've got going on behind Mitchell Bolton at the moment. It's a nice little battle, and just behind them there is an even bigger battle pack of Tim Orty. Just the cork in the bottle at the moment in front of Peter Fletcher Bond, a whole host of cars. So I'll put you out of your misery, Stuart. It was Zolt Baumgartner, of course, for Jordan back in 2003, raced for Minardi in 2004, of course, and scored a single point in his Formula 1 career.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was racking my brain on it. Esteban Ocon won on debut at Hungaroring.
Not debut. It was his first victory.
Oh, it was his first victory. Sorry.
He'd been here before, though.
Right. So there you go. I would have been even wrong about that. I knew he won. I thought it was on debut, but I knew he'd won.
No,
it must have been his first victory. So
his first victory, absolutely. Of course, there have been 5 Formula 1 drivers that have celebrated their first victory here at the Hungaroring. Jenson Button famously back in 2005 for Honda in that fantastic wet race, getting that victory. We saw Alonso take his first win here as well.
Mikey Kovalainen won as well.
Yeah. Kovalainen. What was interesting about Kovalainen's victory? Other than him winning, of course.
The only time he won?
No, I think he won another Grand Prix, but it was the 100th different winner to win a Grand Prix in Formula One history. Which also there is another 100 here at the Hungaroring, because the 100th different pole position sitter got his first pole position here at Hungary as well, which was of course Max Verstappen.
Right. Did not know that. So of course he's planning to have one or two more.
Yeah, absolutely useless facts.
Just one or two.
Yeah, he's done quite well for himself.
That's why we like the quiz. That's why we like the quiz. It's good.
I like it when I remember things.
It's good. We've got 10 minutes left here, believe it or not. Only 10 minutes to go. Still Jack Whittis. Excuse me. Still Jack Whittis out in front. He's got 3 seconds over Mitchell Bolton and Ross Rizzo, who continue to find a way for P2. Has not relented. Now, incident point counter car completely off the Richter scale here. And no one's serving any drive-through, so that's good. We want to see the racing more than anything else. So
I think they're going for the roll it over the clock approach. They're going to try and get it to the amount of digits where iRacing will go, well, that's not possible. As Ross Rizzo makes a move on Bolton right here. Rizzo down the inside. It's going to turn the inside for Mitchell Bolton as they get up towards turn number 2. Will the Beamer have enough legs to get the job done on the McLaren? Not quite. Bolton's going to have the inside here, but Rizzo will get the inside for the next corner. Goes from inside to outside, but Mitchell Bolton has managed to maintain P2 over Ross Rizzo here for one more lap. But Rizzo is all over the back of him at the moment. Watch out for Lachlan Capel as well, who is sticking to this group and just sitting around there waiting for any little mistakes to happen to make a pounce on these two cars.
As things sit at the moment, Rocky will take out the round win if he can maintain this P4. So, he'll get himself a nice little run there. It's Michael Rosenblatt there having an issue. He's jumped into pit lane, so he's had an incident. So there's Rizzo there. Was another lap ticker up there, said he went off track. So could these points count at the last lap like they did in our earlier race this evening, where we saw the top 2 cars jump in through pit lane and up finishing down in the nosebleeds?
Michael Rosenblatt and Adam Funslow got together in turn 1, and that's the reason we've seen Rosenblatt out. We've got the great battle going on as Ross Rizzo makes the move here on Mitchell Bolton and gets up ahead of the McLaren. The McLaren's going to get a little bit of a slipstream here, though, down towards turn 1. Will we see these two battling away into the first corner? Will that BMW be able to break a little bit of a gap here? Bolton looked out the inside, not quite close enough, you'd say, at this stage. Looks to make the move, sticks a bit behind the BMW right here. Now, best opportunity is probably going to be trying for the outside of turn 2 to try and stick it around for the inside of turn 3, but Ross Rizzo is defending that position as well as possible. Daniel Cheney coming into pit lane for the second time tonight, so we see someone coming in again.
Lachlan Capel just watches on. So Rizzo and Bolton continue to fight.
So Cheney serving a drive-through penalty for the incident, and I'd say the same thing's happening for Sam Lehman as well. So, as I say, I think this one's going to be an interesting one from the end of it. They're all going to be very close on those old instant point limits, I'd say, and it could just be a momentary lapse of concentration, just taking a little bit of extra corner, going over the red and white rumble strip in a certain corner, or crossing that white line, and that could be absolutely disastrous to your race tonight.
Bottom corner of the screen with eyes on Jack Boyd. He looks to keep progressing his way through the field. He's up into P8 already, and so Scott Miles Bond now on screen. He's just re-entered the top 10 with Maverick Benson and his teammate James Ruwalt behind. So this is just on the periphery of our top 10 as the sun sets here at the Hungaroring to close round 7 of the AUSPROAM Sim Series. And tonight, thanks to our sponsors again, Simrigs.com, HJ Plant Repairs, Phoenix Smokers, Echuca Toyota, Computer Technology Corporation and 93BC, all big sponsors, as well as HJ Plant Repairs, if I did not mention earlier, our normal partner for the AUSPROAM Sim Series on FGM Ecast.
Yeah, a huge thank you to all of the sponsors. Without you, we could not keep it all going. You make it look so pretty for the evening. So a big thank you to you all. And of course, if you need any of those products, make sure to check out all of those sponsors because they are fantastic people and do some really nice products as well.
Simrigs.com will have some Black Friday stuff coming up. Of course, the big online sales event that has infiltrated Australia. So do have a look for that one. Smoke is potentially the same thing, so keep an eye out on those pages. Support the businesses that support the stream.
So Mitchell Bolton leading the AM class at the moment, currently sitting P3 overall. Fantastic drive, Lachlan Capel just trying his best to catch up to him at the moment. Matthew Johnson as well, P5 in the AM class, in the overall, sorry, and P5 overall. And then it's Timothy Orty in P7 overall, third in the AM class. So the AMs are having a fantastic night in strength here in the top 10. We've currently got Miles Bond, Tim Orty, Matty Johnson and Mitchell Bolton, all the AMs up there in the top 10 at the moment. Then for the pro class, it's Jack Wetters leading over Ross Rizzo, Lachlan Pell in third, fourth Jordan Peter, fifth Jack Boyd, sixth is Dustin Fletcher. So that's in at the top 10 at the moment. So it is very tight still out there. All it takes is one mistake and you can drop back a fair few positions, as it looks like Boyd is making a bit of a move on Tim Orty.
Yeah, he's got that done there. We're going to try and close that out. It looks like Orty just trying to defend here as well against Dustin Fletcher, so he's able to do that. It's been a good recovery drive from Boyd. Up 24 positions into P7, so good effort. The track can be very difficult to get passes done on. Moment, Ross Rizzo just easing his way away from Mitchell Bolton and Lachlan Capel, so things are starting to simmer towards the conclusion of this race. This is a good opportunity to have a little bit of a look further back down the field and see where things are tight.
A battle of the Mercedes at the moment as Dale Carpenter just goes off track. It was Dale Carpenter and Phil Orty having a good battle, but unfortunately Carpenter's just gone off the track line with Orty just to get through there. So we've got a couple of Mercedes lurking out there still, a little bit further down the field than they wanted.
Up at the front, this is just sorry, checking out there in the bottom left-hand corner of the picture. Ross Rizzo, Mitchell Bolton, and Lachlan Capel. The three drivers contesting for the podium. This stage things looking relatively smooth. Jack Wittes, to me, has racked up 34 off tracks. That obviously can't be right. But that could be a late factor here. Might end up altering the outcome of this race. There are only 3 rounds to go for season 5 at the conclusion of this round to Miss Villeneuve for the next round next week, which is one of my favourite tracks.
Absolutely. Of
and then we head to Zolder for our and in fact that's an enduro next week, Carl. That's a 70-minute feature race for our pro drivers.
70 minutes around the circuits of Gilles Villeneuve. It's going to be a tricky one. Talk about track limits here. That track is very, very close, and those walls are very much closer than they are here as well. The Wall of Champions may play a few more victims, of course. So we'll see how that one goes, yeah, I'll probably have a few facts about that place off the top of my head quite quickly.
There's Angus Chappelle. He's got a great Luke Fit go around in the background, just on the bottom corner of your screen there. That one's going to be hectic. Talk about turn 1 and 2. Obviously, that turn 1 there is a very slow start to the lap, so we'll see how that pans out next week, so don't miss out on that one. Then we head to Zolder for our final sprint round, and of course we culminate at our final broadcast of the year as well, Carl. No other place would we want to be bringing it to from than Mount Panorama, with Bathurst closing out this championship for this season, and of course our season as well for 2021.
You may have a chance with a few of the questions in that one.
I think I might get there.
You might be okay with those.
Unless you start talking about the rounds of the motorbike championship and stuff that were held there, then I'm probably going to struggle a little bit just getting out here. Meanwhile, Jack Widders...
I might take it back to the days when it was dirt, so...
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's pre-65, I'm going to struggle. Jack Widders has started, in fact he's halfway through his final lap. White flag is waving. So at the moment, Widders looking like he's going to be able to close this one out. Ahead of Ross Rizzo and Mitchell Bolton. These things have calmed down at the front. In fact, it's close, just a little bit behind him with Johnson and Jordan Peter, but even that, probably not close enough to have a change of result. That's now in your bottom corner screen, so to keep an eye on that one as we head towards the finish line. Jack Widders comes around the final corner. He will take out the win here in the feature race, round 7 of the AUSPROAM Sim Series at the Hungaroring. A great drive from him. Ross Rizzo into P2 and Mitchell Bolton, if you don't mind, in P3. Lachlan Capel with the round win with a strong P4 in the feature race. So he'll be very pleased with the return to form there. Matty Johnson coming home second in the Pro-Am class, or in the Am class. Tim Audie taking out P3 with Miles Bond in P4 in the amateur category. So a very solid run there across the field, but Jack Widders, an excellent result for him to take out the win here at the Hungaroring, round 7 of the AUSPROAM Sim Series.
Some very strong drives through the field. We saw, of course, Ross Rizzo 32 positions gained, Jordan Peter 20 positions gained, Jack Boyd 24 positions gained. Really strong drives for those drivers. Not the easiest track to pass on here at the Hungaroring, so fantastic drives by all of those.
An exciting racing the whole way through. The past 2 race tonight was fantastic. The first race here obviously came to an interesting conclusion, and then this main feature race as well. Some really, really strong performances. Of course, Jordan Peter up 20 positions, and the 058 of Jack Boyd 24 positions, if you don't mind, as well. Ross Rizzo 32 positions gained. There's some huge movement throughout the field. Nice consistent driving from those gentlemen, getting them through as well. So none other than Lachlan Capel will be as happy. A smile on that young man's face will be as wide as the front or rear of a BMW.
It was a really strong right night as well from Mitchell Bolton. P2 in the first race, P3 in the second race. So that is a really good, strong finish. And taking out the amateur win as well. That's going to be a nice feeling.
So particularly for Am, but we've said before, the gap between the two fields not that great. So it just makes it even harder for the pro drivers, because of course the Am drivers competing in a completely different championship, that goes without saying, but under no obligation to, of course, let the pro drivers through. So a bad performance can be compounded by the fact that you're not really, it's not like we've got different car classes where you've got, you know, as you see sometimes in our in the wildcard rounds, where we've got two distinct cars. You know, you might have the Caddy and the MX-5, for example, that we ran earlier, where there's a big speed differential. There isn't. So you've really got to work hard to get back up through the field, which makes, you know, Ross Rizzo's performance, Jack Boyd's performance even more so impressive, because they've managed to pass drivers that really, where there's no massive differential in lap pace.
Yeah, very strong drives indeed. And, you know, as I don't want to harp on too much about it, but this track is not the easiest to pass on, so doing it here is it's a Herculean effort indeed.
So we're just waiting for the drivers to jump into the green room so we can have a quick chat with them, which Carl will do when they get here. In the meantime, we don't have a lot to tell you about what's on the rest of the week for FGM Cast, because as we said, ANSCAR now on the off-season. There is the Race of Champions coming up on Thursday night. We may be broadcasting that one. We'll just see how we get on. There's a lot going on this time of year, so we'll see what happens. But otherwise, this is our last certain broadcast of the week, Carl.
Yeah, very much so. And it's been a longer year, but it's been a fantastic season for everything. It's nice to have a little bit of free time for ourselves, as we're able to do something, get into some race cars now and again as well. But definitely looking forward to getting next year underway, of course. And it's been a very, very strong finish to the season, of course. And we've got AUSPROAM, of course, coming up for a few more weeks. So make sure to join us there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you can catch all of those races, and you can catch us on Facebook and YouTube, of course. And make sure to head over to YouTube for some extra little features now and again with the highlights packages and things like that. Of course, you can watch the replays of the races there as well.
Just waiting for Mitchell Bolton and Jack Widdis to jump in. Of course, Matty Johnson and Tim Audie as well, if they do end up jumping into the box. At the moment, we've only got Ross Rizzo in the green room, so just give them a minute or two more. Otherwise, we'll just have a quick chat with Ross Rizzo. He'll be happier with his performance this week. He was very down on himself last week after what went on in the main race, which you know, is very, very hard on himself, to be brutally honest. But it's just the way the drivers are sometimes.
That's the expectations they have of themselves, the sort of expectation of the clean racing and the strong performances, and it's very hard not to be hard on yourself when you make a couple of little tiny mistakes. And look, we didn't see huge mistakes from Rizzo, just a little bit of contact here and there, and very much hard on themselves, but improving all the time as well. And that's the main thing, is learning from those mistakes. You know, you've got to make mistakes to learn them. And you know, it's one of the unfortunate things, is you do learn from most mistakes quite quickly, and putting them into action is the important thing. And this week, Rizzo has definitely done that.
So we've got Mitchell Bolton's just jumped in, and Jack Widdis as well. So we've got Jack with us. We're very well, mate. Very well. I know that wasn't intended for us, but we're still good.
How you going?
Good, yeah. I don't know where Mitchell disappeared to. He's just jumped out again. But look, Carl, we might get underway and have a chat with Ross and with Jack, and I'll just see if I can round up Mitchell as well.
Yes, so we'll start off a little bit lower down from the P1. So we'll start off with Mr. Ross Rizzo. Congratulations on a P2 tonight. Obviously, the sprint race didn't go too well for you at the end there.
Too well? Not too well. That's probably the understatement of the season, and that's saying a lot. Of this season has been a nightmare, quite frankly. And race 1 looked like it was going to be more of the same. But race 2, my goodness. When I came out of the pits and I did the estimates about where I was going to end up on track, I realized I was on for something special, but not quite that good. And then, you know, it could have been completely different if I had even better traffic than what I did. I overfilled slightly, and then I had to battle. But it was just a magnificent race, and a good way to you know, kick the curse of what this season has been for me.
Absolutely. Look. The Hungaroring's not known for its ease of overtaking. You made up 32 positions in that feature race there. Obviously, a fantastic strategy, but we also saw you battling hard on track as well and making some great overtakes.
Yeah, and they were a lot harder than they really needed to be. And like, not that the guys weren't even really defending; they were just kind of doing their own line. But I was, I had pace, but I had nothing that I could do with it. So it was just, as you say, it was really, really difficult to pass. And then it was ultimately, I think they just kind of conceded at the end because I just kept bombing it. I was just doing it more out of frustration and hoping that it's just, they kind of go, that's it, I've had enough of this to let me go. Because, we were both catching Jack, Mitch and I. So I was hopeful that at some point we might be able to start working together, but ultimately there was nothing I could really do to pass Mitch unless he made a mistake or just kind of let me go after he got fed up with seeing the ugly bucktooth nose up his inside every second corner.
Well, you made it work in the end. Look, I have to say, a really strong drive for this feature race, and obviously we saw you last week having, it wasn't the cleanest of races, but a much stronger one this week, and you must be a lot happier as well after this race.
Oh, look, I'm still unhappy about race one, and I don't know if justice will be made for that one. But it is what it is. But look, I'm glad to finally get a podium on merit this time. So I'll take the positives from that. The pace seems to be there, but I could really use some luck. I could turn some of that into some decent results, and I think the season's kind of long gone for me at the moment. But look, so I'm basically just going to keep showing up to try and snatch wins and podiums where I can.
I'm sure once that luck kicks in, you'll get a victory next to your name. Congratulations on P2 tonight, Ross. Before I let you go, the usual thing is shout out and love to sponsors and people in general.
I have a new list and I have not prepared myself. I'm sorry. 1 second. Yes, so to Trans-Tasman Racing, Virtual Racing School, TP Race Design, Kart FX Model Cars, Parenzo, and X-Trim Motor Trimming.
Congratulations and well done again on P2 with the new team, and a great comeback drive tonight.
Thank you.
Next up, we will head to P3 overall, but our amateur class victor, Mr. Mitchell Bolton. Congratulations on the win in the AM. Congratulations on the P2 in the sprint and the P3 in the feature race. A pretty good night overall for you here at Hungary.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, it was a good race there with Ross Russo, but I actually took my mate out there in lap 6, so I got a self-report for that. But yeah, no, it was a good fun race. I just wish I let Ross go a little earlier.
Obviously, we saw you battling a lot tonight. You had overtakes. You had people having to defend against people tonight. It was not an easy position to keep a hold of.
Nah, it definitely wasn't. It was definitely a bit more evenly matched this time around than last week. The took a bit of power out of the car, so made it a lot harder. But no, it was good fun racing and pretty clean. But yeah, like I said, took my mate out, so he might not talk to me for a couple of days. But anyway, that happens.
As is racing sometimes, unfortunately. Obviously, this is a fantastic result for you in the AM class as well. This has been a really strong round for you.
Yeah, definitely. I've had some shockers this season, so it's nice to actually finish too. I've had a few first race good finishes, like in 4th, but then reverse grid, I've just been in the wrong place at the right time, and yeah, it's nice to finally get through and get a result.
Congratulations on the main event podiums, the overall race podiums, and also the class victory as well. Which it's all of the trophies tonight. You're not gonna be able to walk carrying so many trophies.
Yeah, no, I had a good one, but Matthew wasn't far behind either. He's another amateur, was right up there, so yeah, he kept me on my toes.
Congratulations. Before I let you go, the usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors or anyone you'd like to say hello to tonight.
Nah, sponsorless, mate. Just thank the missus for letting me get on here each week, and yeah, cheers everyone for the good racing.
Thank you so much, Mitchell Bolton there. A well-deserved P2 in the first race, P3 second race, and AM class victory there tonight. And next up, we will head to Jack Winnes, the winner overall tonight in the feature race. A fantastic drive. You looked like you had pace to spare out there tonight, Jack.
I don't think I had anything to spare, but yeah, I think I just got extremely lucky with a clear track, which managed to get me a decent lead at the start, and then yeah, Ross and Mitch were just hunting me down pretty quickly, so yeah, no, it was good.
The Ferrari we had a few people talking about the Ferrari being relatively decent around here, and then that first race came along and the Ferraris looked like they were nowhere, and then all of a sudden you've come back with the mark and managed to slap it up for P1 tonight. So how was the car to drive out there?
I think the balance and everything was really good, but yeah, just one lap pace, it's just got nothing, especially against the BMW and the McLaren this week. But yeah, super happy to end up here considering I didn't do any practice, so yeah, it was good.
No, that's a fantastic result, and it's one of those tracks where, you know, practice, it sort of helps a fair bit, because we were sort of talking a little bit about it. The off tracks can be quite severe here.
Yeah, I really struggled in qualifying to get a lap together, and I think in practice I didn't even do one clean lap, so I kind of surprised myself in the race not getting any.
No, our counters were absolutely wrong up here in the booth. But we were wondering if anybody would get bitten by that, but luckily you managed to get away with that one in the races. Obviously, a strong sprint race from you from 12th to 6th, of course. Did that sort of stronger starting position help you out for the race, do you think, for the feature?
Yeah, I think so. I got tangled up in the chicane, I think, with Luke Fit, which I was a bit disappointed about. But yeah, I was super happy to come through and get a good starting position for the next one.
All right, look, congratulations on the feature race victory tonight, Jack. It was a very strong drive from yourself, and you sort of just absolutely controlled that race pace for yourself. So before I let you go, the usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors or anyone you'd like to say hello to tonight.
Just to the wife and, yeah, like Mitch, to say thanks for letting me on the sim tonight.
The all-important one. Thank you to everybody's wives for letting us play. It's a very important part of the hobby. No, big thank you, though. Congratulations on the win, and hopefully we'll catch you back in the booth soon.
Thanks, boys.
So, Stuart, the AUSPASS round here at Hungary has come to a close, and we've seen some fantastic racing here tonight.
Done and dusted for another week, and there's only 3 to go. It's going to get tight at the top. Looking forward to being back next Tuesday night with what will be a really, really tough race, 70 minutes. At the circuit, I'm going to get it wrong. I'm just going to say Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and that'll do. But that's where we're headed, and that is going to be an absolute cracker of a race. As usual, Pass 2 will be on about 7:20 if we don't have any technical issues, which we shouldn't have next week, but 7:20 followed by the main Pro-Am race. And that is it from FGM eCast for your Tuesday night. Carl, thanks for joining me in the box tonight. Much appreciated. And we'll be back then 7:20 or so next Tuesday evening on FGM eCast, your E Place for Pace. Thanks very much for tuning in, and good night.